So, how do you remember everything you learned? How do you make sure that every time you sit down, you know exactly what to do, what to revise, and you don't spend hours thinking about what to do first? How do you make sure every hour that you spend studying actually counts towards something for your IGCSEs? You see, I've spoken to about hundreds of students at this point, and most students do not have a memory problem, they have a method problem. They revise by rereading notes, highlighting, summarizing, but wait, let me just ask you this. When is the last time that you genuinely used all of these techniques and they actually gave you the results you wanted? Yup, never. In this video, I'm going to break studying into 3 simple pillars: testing, active recall, and the Feynman technique. So pay attention to this, because once you understand this, you will actually not waste any more time and your grades might just start to move. The 3 pillars of studying. Okay, now there's so many ways. There's genuinely a million and 10 ways to go about this, but I'm going to give you 3 pillars, okay, that you can use for your rest of your life. Genuinely. Okay, wait, hold on. The thunder is so loud. Let me switch it off. Let me close the window. Okay, solid. Okay, come. I want to introduce you to 3 pillars of studying. Okay, so these 3 pillars are what makes an A-star student or an A+ student. Okay, how do I know? I've genuinely used it myself. That's how I went from failing to top grades in my school. And these 3 pillars of testing, there's heavy evidence behind it as well. I'll pull up the evidence just to prove to you that I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so the 3 pillars. All right, so let's say, oh, why is it in red? All right, let's say we have a structure, right? We need pillars to hold it, right? So this is you trying to achieve your top grade, okay, A+ or A-star, okay? You need pillars to hold it. You need pillars, right? So these are the pillars that I'm going to be talking about today. 3 pillars in total: pillar 1, pillar 2, and pillar 3. Okay, so the first pillar, okay, the first pillar that we'll be talking about is testing. Okay, pillar number 2, active recall. And pillar number 3, we will be talking about the Feynman technique. You have probably heard about all these 3 before, but I'm going to go deeper into it. Okay, so now I'm not claiming this. Okay, I'm going to pull up a study right now, right over here. Okay, so this is a meta-analysis. Okay, a meta-analysis is basically a study that looks at tons of other studies. So think of this as like one big center that researches other people who conduct research. Okay, like it's a whole conclusion that they make. Okay, so they bring all the research together, right? They tie everything together to help us understand what is the overarching conclusion on what's the best research and evidence. Okay, so this meta-analysis over here is done across hundreds of research, and they have come to the conclusion that, hey, these 3 tactics are the best and easiest things to do in order to score a top grade. Because I'm pretty sure no student, like no kid likes to study. Like no kid wants to learn academics, right? So if you already like don't want to do it, might as well just do it, using techniques that helps you cheat through studying, right? That feels like a shortcut that helps you get the most information possible. Okay, now if you only use these 3 techniques for the rest of your life, I'm talking after IGCSE, if you're doing like A levels or a foundation or whatsoever, and you go on to university, these 3 techniques will still apply. Okay, so firstly, we need to focus on these 3 things are high yield techniques. All right, these are the things that will give you the best return for your time, right? Okay, 1 hour spent cleaning your house is not going to affect your performance in exams compared to 1 hour spent on you doing past year papers, right? We're trying to get the best use for our time. So for the best use of our time is these 3 tactics, okay? Tactics or techniques, all right? So how do we measure this? Okay, I'm Rahul. You see, I'm trying to give you the biggest, I'm trying to help you get the biggest grade improvement over the shortest amount of time. All right, I'm trying to give you as much as possible over the shortest amount of time, right? So grade improvement. Okay, I'm trying to give you a grade improvement. Okay, the way you get a grade improvement is basically this divided by time spent using, let's just say, X technique. Okay, now there's a million techniques out there to study. Okay, I'm just going to represent them as X. Okay, X can be one of these three, or X can be another trio, which I'm going to introduce right now, which you should completely avoid at all costs. Genuinely, if you're doing this right now, avoid it. Stop. Okay, there's absolutely no point. Okay, so I'm going to go through the bad stuff, right? This is bad stuff. Okay, if these three are the best techniques in the world, the worst techniques in the world will be the following right now: highlighting, rereading, and what's one more? Summarizing. Okay, now these are what we call low utility. Okay, we will spend this much time, okay, using these techniques, but the results and the information that we gain will be this little. Okay, it's not a good relationship. So results gain. Okay, these things you should completely avoid right off the get-go. Right now, please, reading and rereading is two different things. Okay, don't be like, yeah, okay, Monesh told me not to read, I'm never going to read for the rest of my life. Like, how do you expect to understand information? Reading is completely fine. Reading is good, right? I read books, you read your textbook. Reading is essential to life, right? But do not reread, right? Let's say you read a page of chapter 3 in biology, for example. Okay, if you do not understand it, fine, you can reread it. Okay, but if you catch yourself, so this is where these bad techniques fall into place. If you keep catching yourself rereading, right, just to understand what's going on, drop it. There's so many other ways that you can move forward. Okay, if you read something you don't understand, fine, you want to give it a try again, read it again. If you still don't get it, drop it. All right, use other techniques, which I will get into in a bit. Okay, so these are low utility stuff, and well, honestly, just avoid these things. Okay, now understanding something the first time is better than glazing or memorizing content. Okay, most of you guys, most of you kids, students taking GCSEs, IGCSEs, you guys try to just skim past everything. You read once, it's fine. All right, you try to condense huge amount of information just for the sake of moving on to the next chapter. Well, do not do that, right? You will actually waste so much time compared to you genuinely trying to understand what's going on, right? Understanding will take time, yes, but you will not waste time rereading over and over and over just to understand a concept. You might as well spend that time in understanding what you learned. Okay, do not jump to memorization. Attempt to understand, try to understand, right? Sure, you can get away with memorizing. I'm guilty of it as well, right? To be fair, back in my IGCSE days, I did memorize at least 3 chapters of biology, but hey, I would be better off if I genuinely just tried to understand it, like learn from my mistakes, right? There's no point in trying to memorize everything, right? We're trying to win in long term. We're not just trying to get good grades for GCSEs. We're trying to have these techniques with us for the rest of our lives, right? Think long term, do not think short term. Okay, so coming back to the pillars, I want to talk about pillar 1, which is testing. Testing. What is testing? Okay, testing is basically when you expose yourself to the questions related to the subject that you're learning, right? So practice testing, or testing in general, is basically you getting your homework done and doing question sets that the teacher assign you. You see, when someone assigns you something, they know that it's going to help you out. So the best thing you can do is genuinely just finish what they assign to you, rather than you trying to be smart and take all of these past papers from all these resources online. Just do what the teacher gives you, and 90% of the time you will do pretty well, right? 80-20 rule, right? 80% of results comes from 20% of effort. right? Just put in effort to complete your homework, and trust me, your understanding will be, it will be solidified, right? You don't need to be doing all of these extra past papers if you just complete your homework every single time the teacher gives you, right? What students do, you let all of these homework pile up, and towards the end, you guys want to cram. Why are you guys doing that to yourselves? You're making your lives hard, right? Just do the questions, do the homework that your teacher gives you, right? Complete it and submit it back for feedback so the teacher can help you out on the spot. Okay, it's very simple. So testing is based, okay, I'm going to split this into two, right? I'm going to split this into practice testing and distributed testing. Okay, so practice testing is where you complete your homework. It sounds so simple, but no one does it. Complete your homework, complete the question sets assigned to you. Okay, now what is distributed practice? Well, distributed practice is when you space out your practice testing. Okay, when a teacher gives you 30 questions to solve in a week, do not try to complete those 30 questions in a day. That's stupid. Okay, instead, split it to 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and hey, before you know it, you're done by the weekend, right? Simple. So distributed testing is basically when you split your work or practice. Doesn't have to be equally. You can do 6, 4, 3, whatever. But hey, just try to make it simple for your mind, because your mental bandwidth is only so much. So might as well just keep things simple and do the the set amount every single day, right? Consistency, right? So split your work and practice over days. Okay, I would suggest you do this equally, right? So practice testing and distributed testing, you combine it, it makes up for testing. Okay, so when your mentor gives you homework, instead of you trying to complete some other questions in your school textbook or just pull up some random things from the internet just to feel like you're being smart, no, just complete the homework your mentor give you, done. Okay, and submit it back for feedback, and your mentor will get back to you. That's how you learn, right? The most successful people in the world, right? This is also to do with speed. You need to get things done fast. Okay, the most successful people in the world move with speed, right? They do something, okay, then they learn how much they suck at it, then they get feedback for it, and they improve. Done. Problem one solved. Then another problem opens up, right? Problem two opens up. So what do they do with problem two? Okay, try to understand it and try to solve it. They're probably going to fail, right? And after they fail, they get feedback, they improve. Problem two sorted. Now, problem three, right? As you progress through life, right? Or as you progress through studying, as you progress through business, there will be a bottleneck that opens up, right? There will be endless problems every time. Pain, okay? The fact that you feel pain is fixed. It's fixed. It's fixed. You can't remove that, right? So if you know that pain is fixed, why are you trying to avoid your work, right? Just do your work. Pain will be there. Pain is a constant variable, right? You have two options here. You can take the pain and be like, I want to give up, or you can take the pain and be like, okay, I want to push. Okay, and guess what? One of these two will get you results. And I'm pretty sure you know which one it is, right? Okay, so I'm going to give you some evidence over here. Like I said, this is all based on facts, right? Take a look at this over here. Okay, now there are two bunch of students who have GPA who achieve GPAs between 1.7 to 2.1 and 3.7 to 4.0, right? Smart kids know that highlighting, rereading, and summarizing and doing all this bullshit stuff is not going to help you out. I'm being dead honest over here. What smart kids do, okay, I won't really call them smart kids, right? These kids just use their time in a very smart manner, right? They practice test, right? As you can see, the amount of people doing practice questions is way higher than the amount of people, smart kids doing practice questions is much higher compared to normal kids not doing practice questions, right? And if we take a look over here at results, right? Final test performance, people who did practice testing scored way higher compared to people who have no practice testing, right? In your world, it would be past paper questions, right? Expose yourself to as many past paper questions as you can. Okay, so this is practice testing. Okay, I want to talk about something now. I want to talk about the forgetting curve. Take a look at this, okay? Do you know what the forgetting curve is? When you learn new information, you will forget it. It's bound to happen. No one can just learn, unless you have a photographic memory, no one can just learn new information and remember it for the rest of their lives. It's impossible. No. So how do you beat this forgetting curve, right? You can actually cheat and beat this forgetting curve. You beat this forgetting curve by applying what you learned or revisiting what you learned, right? If you do more practice questions on logarithms, you're going to expose yourself to more practice questions. And do you think you will forget logarithms when it comes to the exam? No. Why? Because you keep exposing your brain to log, and then your brain's going to be like, okay, you know what? This is log. Yeah, I get it, right? When it comes to exams, your brain is just going to spit out information. It's going to help you out, right? So the way you beat this forgetting curve is just keep exposing yourself. As you can see over here, you almost tend to never forget things if you keep exposing yourself to the material, right? So this is the forgetting curve that I want to talk about, and you can beat this by just revisiting material, right? It is very, very, very simple. Okay, now, do not make the mistake, all right? Do not make the mistake of skipping hard questions. Please don't be like, okay, you know what? This is hard. I'll settle this later. Oh, this is hard. I'll leave it for the last. Please do not do that. That's a myth. All right? Attempt these questions head on. Okay, when you attempt hard questions head on, your brain is going to feel pain. I keep repeating this every session because of how important it is. The more you put your brain in pain, the more you will learn. It's so simple. Okay, please try to clock that. Okay, I'm try to lock that in your mind, right? The more you expose yourself to hard stuff, the more you're going to learn, right? Yeah, it's as simple as that. Just keep doing hard stuff and don't leave it for later. It is pretty simple. Okay. Now, I want to link testing to the second pillar. All right. So the second pillar that I have over here is active recall. Okay. Now, here's the biggest hack I can give you today. Right. And you're very lucky it's just you. So you're going to be paying attention and, information won't just be lost in sauce. Now, you can link testing to active recall by, this is exactly what I did. Okay. I'm giving you this hack by it sounds so simple, but no one does it. Trust me, no one does it. By turning your wrong or incorrect questions into flashcards. Or create a separate document with all of your incorrect questions. Best cheat code in order to improve very fast. Okay, so when you get something wrong, right? This mostly applies to humanities. When you get something wrong, or humanities and sciences, when you get something wrong, put it into a flashcard. All right, turn it into a flashcard and review this flashcard like every other day to consolidate that information. Okay, now this is just level 1, yeah? There's one way that you can upgrade to level 2. Okay, let me give you an example. Normally, when you make flashcards, you're going to make them like this. Mitochondria is what of the cell? Okay, your answer is going to be powerhouse of the cell. Okay, if you want to upgrade your flashcard game, this is what you do. What is the powerhouse of the cell? If you do this, you will genuinely see a 20% improvement in memory, right? What, instead of saying, instead of asking yourself, mitochondria is the what of the powerhouse, what of the cell, answer is going to be powerhouse. But if you reverse it, right? If you reverse it, what is the powerhouse of the cell? Mitochondria. Your brain is literally wired to connect different concepts together. There are millions of neurons in our brain, right? Make use of it. Instead of doing the standard way, you can also reverse it and test your brain out, right? So this is how you can upgrade your flashcard game. But genuinely, if you're just starting out, just do number 1. Remember what I said before? Don't try to improve all at once. You're just going to fail, right? Start, optimize, repeat, right? So if you're not making flashcards, make normal flashcards first, okay? Then once you get better, you can upgrade your flashcard game. It's very simple, okay? Now, pillar number 3, Feynman technique. You can implement this as soon as today. Okay, what is the Feynman technique? Feynman technique is basically you learn something. Actually, learn is not the right word. When you understand something. Okay. Number 2, explain it or teach it to someone else. And number 3, check for understanding. Okay, or in other words, repeat. Okay, if you learn a new concept in biology, okay, I keep using biology as an example. Let me take physics, okay? I absolutely hate physics, but I'm just going to take physics. Let's say you learn waves, okay? You will understand waves 10 times, right? 10 times better if you explain it to someone else or you teach it to someone else, right? Now, here's the catch. Let's say you're teaching waves to me. If I don't understand it, you have did a pretty bad job at explaining it to me. Or in other words, you yourself did not understand what you learned about waves. Done. Simple. That's why this is one of the best techniques out there, because it catches you on your bullshit immediately, right? If you teach waves to someone and they don't understand it, it's your fault. You have not learned the information, or you just don't understand what you're learning. So what do? You go back and learn it again, and then explain it and teach it again, until the person understands what you're saying to at least a degree of 90% plus. Or if they were to give you a rating of 1 to 5, if it's not 4 and above, keep trying again and again. Once it's 4 and above, you've done a good job. Okay, you can go on to practice questions, right? So if I were to give you a framework, right, obviously all of this is good, this is theory, but how do you apply this, right? Application is what matters most. So I would suggest you start with 3, go to 1, and go to 2. So use the Feynman, testing, and active recall. Why Feynman first? Because you need to understand what you're learning, right? There's no point doing questions if you don't understand what you're learning. It's as simple as that, right? So again, Feynman, okay? Understand it first, explain it to someone first, all right? And then testing, right? Testing. You expose yourself to as many questions as you can, all right? Now, also, do not skip the hard questions. Okay, and keep making mistakes, right? Don't make silly mistakes, but keep making mistakes, right? Because when you do hard questions, you're going to make mistakes, right? Making mistakes is essential, right? In life and in studies, you need to make mistakes so that you can learn, right? And what do you do with those mistakes? You go to step number 2. Okay, now again, 3, 1, 3 is Feynman, 1 is testing, and number 2, with those mistakes, right? With those incorrect questions, you turn them into flashcards. Now you can do this for math as well. Okay, you can just take a picture of a huge word problem and just put it into a flashcard, right? Okay, by the way, for flashcard, I preach to everyone that you guys use Anki. Okay, it's absolutely free and you can download it on your phone. Okay, now turn those incorrect questions into flashcards and keep reviewing them every other day. This is done, all right? There's a lot more details that I can get into, but this is the most actionable thing that I could summarize this to. 3, 1, 2. Feynman, okay, understand it, teach it to someone, okay, and then do as many past paper questions as you can, and then turn your incorrect questions into flashcards. Done. So simple. A stars will just fall into your lap. So easy. Okay, I did the same thing, worked out for me. So it'll work out for you as well. First, testing. Do all of the hard questions first. Doesn't matter if that's past your papers or your homework, right? And evenly space out your revision. Secondly, active recall. Turn your mistakes into flashcards. Don't be lazy. If you can't get these flashcards right, it just simply means that you don't know the concept yet. So keep trying until you get it. Again, don't be lazy. If you want upgrades, this is the work that you have to put in. Thirdly, the Feynman technique. If you can't explain a topic simply, it just means that you don't understand it. So teach it to someone until they understand it, right? Do this again
again and again until the other person gets it. If that person gets it, chances are you understood the concept very well and you can move on to the next thing. Please avoid highlighting, rereading, and summarizing at all costs. Trust me, they might feel productive, but they will get you nowhere in terms of your grades. Now, you might be wondering, okay Monish, this is all great advice. How do I actually put this into action? Well, do not worry, I got you. I made another video on how to use these techniques and spend your time wisely. It's the study equation video. I talk about a formula that you can use which increases your knowledge and decreases the time you spend studying. It sounds unreal, but trust me, check it out. It's probably my favorite video that I've made so far. Go watch that, I'll link it somewhere here or in the description. As always, I hope you win.